Hello friends, I welcome you all to this session on C++ programming. So today what we are going to do is we are going to solve this particular problem. That means we have to write a code for this particular problem. What this problem says, this is a very straightforward problem. It says that you have to create a class called as particle. So let's say this is the class, okay, particle class, and this particular class is having three basically data members. First is the particle name, second is the particle ID, and the third one is the velocity, and this is recorded at 4 different points. So that means velocity is going to be an array. Okay, so what this particular problem says that in this particular particle class you are also having get data, display data, and average velocity as the member functions. Now we have to write first the class. Then inside the main you have to create two objects of this particular class. Input the experimental velocity data. So this has to be transferred from the main with the help of this average velocity, or yes, or what you can do is you can use this get data to know the value, or to feed the value, or to initialize the values, not this one. Then display the recorded data. So everything, that is the particle name, particle ID, everything has to be displayed. Then once this has been done, then you have to compute the average velocity for each particular particle. So what you can do is you can make one let's say average velocity array inside the main, and for every particle you feed that, and then assume you are having two particle inside the main, so it will be having, so this is basically a two member array. So let us write the class, then you will be able to understand what I am trying to say here. So first I should be having one class. So particle is the name of the class. Now this particle is having what I can do is I can split like this. Okay, this is the one. Now this particular class is having three data members. So what are they? So first one is the particle name. So let's say it is string, that is particle name, or simply write pn. Then particle ID, so it has to be integer, so particle ID. Then velocity, so let's say it is float, and this is basically 4 member arrays. Okay, now for string we have to use this hash include string. Now once this is done, then you have to create your data basically functions, member functions, so they have to be kept in public. Okay, as this particular problem is not telling that you have to create an what we say constructor for it, so we have to use this get data function. So void get data. Then what is required? First the particle name has to be transferred, so cout enter name. Okay, then we will be using get line, and then cin, and then particle name. But if you are having more than two or more than two inputs, then it happens sometimes that the previously created variables new line character can interfere and disturb your program. What you can do is you can use this inbuilt ws. So what it will do, so what's if it is having new line there existing, then it will wipe it out. Okay, then once this is done, then you have to supply the pin. So cout enter pin, and then particle id, and then cin PID. So it has to be cout. Now comes this part, that means we have to supply the data from this particular function to this particular array. So let us write cout enter the velocities, and then handle. So we have to run a loop as there are 4 entries. So for int I 0, I less than 4, I plus plus, okay. And then here what I'll do, first I will write cout enter, and then I plus 1th velocity. So now it will look better, and yeah, then again I have written cout, it should be, so cin, so this is v ith element, that's it, done. So friends, your first get data part is over. Now comes the second part, that means the display data. It is a very straightforward function. So what you can do is, so where it is ending, okay, where this is ending, okay, here it is ending. So now void display data, and what has to be displayed? First the particle name, cout particle name, handle, then cout, and particle name is a particle id, and then cout. Now velocity, okay, display data. So velocity I think also let us display, and for that for int I 0, I less than 4, I plus plus cout, and then what I have to write, let's say it is v, and then ith value. So let us write I plus 1, and then because it is good to see v1, v2, v3, v4, or even if you are comfortable with v0, then no problem. Now then this is equal to, so equal to sign, and then it is vi. Once it is done, then I can simply say handle to bring the cursor to the next line. Okay, now this part is also over. Okay, it is so simple. Now comes the average printing, so that you can do very easily. So you have to create one function, and let's say it is returning float. So average, so this is what, let's say take one variable t, assign 0 to it, and for int I 0, I less than 4, I plus plus, and then t assigned t plus, now whatsoever mark, whatsoever velocity it is, so it is vi, so it will be adding every velocity. Then what we will do, after this particular is added, then we simply return this t, that means addition of all the velocities divided by the number of data points, that is 4. So t divided by 4. Done. It is so simple. So what is the name? Let me check once more. It is average velocity. So let us make it velocity. So that's it. So now you are having your three functions ready, that is get data, display data, and average velocity. Now everything is okay. Let me run it and check it. Oh, so there is a problem. It is saying, what is the problem? It is saying, okay, brace problem. So where is that? Okay, this is the problem. So it should not be like this. I think it is okay now. Okay. So now inside the main, what I can do is, I can create one, this, what is the particle is the name of the class. So particle, let's say I am saying P, okay, and how many particles are there? 2 particles are there, okay. So to find out the average velocities for every particle, I am creating one array here itself here. So average velocity, how many particles? 2 particles are there. Done. Now I have to supply the data for all the particles. So for int I0, I less than how many they are? They are 2. So I plus plus, and then I have to simply say P I dot get data. That's it. Done. The data will be supplied. It is over. Now once this has been done, so let's say I am also interested in viewing the data. So for int, again let us copy this, because we just have to change the function. So instead of get data, I can simply say view data. View, or what is the name? Display data was the name. Display data. So it has come. Now, so simple, friends, isn't it? So once get data, display data is over, now our main task is remaining. So what we have to do? We have to run a loop for int I0, I less than 2. What I am interested now in is, I want to find out the average velocities for these 2 particles. As there are only 2, so I have to run I have to run this loop twice. So I plus plus, then in this array am, the ith element, what I'll do, I'll transfer the average velocity for the ith particle, or what is this? It is P basically. So P. So then average velocity. So this has come. Done. So look, friends, it is so simple. Programming is a very simple thing. So now I have to say what we have to do. Now let us make it bigger. Now in this program it says compare the average velocity and determine which particle has the highest average velocity. Okay. So now let us come to the code. So here inside, what I have to do is, I have to compare the average velocity. So if the average velocity, it should be AV, not AM. So if the average velocity for the first particle is more than the average velocity for the second particle, then what I have to say? I have to simply say that the average velocity for first particle is more. First is more. Okay, and then simply you have to say handle. If this doesn't happen, then else if, now what I can do, I can copy this. So else if the average velocity of 1 is more than average velocity of 0, then I have to say the average velocity of second particle is more. Now, if neither is true, then there is only one option left, that they should have the same velocity. So I can simply say else, then see out both the particles are having same velocity. That's it, and I think we are done. So what was the problem? The problem was very simple. It says that you have to create one class known as particle with the data member as particle name, particle ID, and the velocity of the particle at 4 different locations. Okay. Then you have to create one member function known as getData, and here we are supplying the particle name as a string. So we have to do what? We have to first uh, delete everything whatsoever is already there. So specifically new line and everything. Then we have to create one part, enter the particle ID and then the velocities for these 4 different points or locations. Once this has been done, then we have to create a function for displaying. So we have done it, and then finally evaluating the average velocity. Now, as this is over, so inside the main program, we have to create 2 particles. So we have created array for it. Then average velocity array I have created. Okay. Then transferred the data for particle first and second also. Then displayed their particulars, and then evaluated the average velocity and stored that in this particular array, that means AV. So AV0 means the 0th element, that means the first particle, and AV1 will be the second, and so on. So then we have to simply check which one is more. So if I run this, now I have to supply the name, enter name. So let's say the first particle is having the name, let's say alpha. Okay, then the ID, let's say it is 1. Then the velocity at the first location, let's say 10, then it is 12, then it is 13.5, and at the fourth location, let's say it is 11.7. Then the second particle, let's say beta. Then the ID, let's say it is 2. Okay, and then the velocity, let's say it is 10.2, 11.9, 11.8, 15.2, and 13.1. Oh, where I am writing it? What has happened? Something has happened. So again, let us run it and see. It is alpha and 1, and let's say velocities are 10, 10, 12, 13. Then the particle name is beta, then ID is 2, and it is 10, let's say 12, let's say 13, let's say 14. So now, oh, I might have done something wrong there. So now I have entered 2. So the first particle name, particle ID, and the velocity. So why the particle name is not coming here also and here also? Though the average velocity of 2 is more, it is coming. Yeah, it is very eminent. It is evident here that it is more. But why they are not coming? Because I might have not given them. So simply I have written particle name. So I should have written Pn here. So it is Pn, and then particle ID. So it is, let me check here. So it is PID. Okay. So it is PID. Okay. Now I think I have done all the work. So now if I run it, so enter name, let's say alpha, ID is 1, velocity let's say 10, 12, 14, and let's say 15, again 15, and this is beta, particle ID 2, and let's say 30, 27, 2, and 4. So the first particle is alpha, ID is 1, and velocities are these. And likewise, second particle is beta, id is this, velocities are these, and then if you look here, the average velocity of 2 second particle is more. So this is more. Why? Because of these 2. So if you look 1, 20, 30, 40, this is 45, 49 and 51. So it is 30, 20, 27, it is already more here. So that is the reason why this particle 2 is shown to be having more average velocity. So in this way, friends, you can create the function. Now, the thing which is missing in this particular function is basically you have created the function, but what you have done is in this particular function, the way in which the data is coming onto the screen is missing. Now that has to be done. So in the next lecture, I'll show you that there is a header file known as input output manipulator. So that will do what? That will make our output beautiful looking onto the console. Okay. So in this lecture, till this point only. In the next lecture, we'll understand that how this IO manip works. So thank you very much for watching it. Take care.